Hey, sorry you missed us in class on Monday, but here's a little teaser of what we covered. So this class is Diagnosis Beyond the Silver Bullet. It is my fancy way of saying the diagnostic process. And when I start every class I've ever done, I start with my knowledge pie. So for those of you that don't know, everything in gray there is all the stuff that I know. It's just in the automotive industry anyway. This pie is the automotive industry. Gray is everything that I know. Orange is all the stuff I don't know. And the scariest part of all is the blue, the remainder of the pie. It's the stuff that I don't know that I don't know. And one of the best examples I can give of this is, and this example I've used and I'll probably use forever, and it's dating me now, but for those that have worked on cars since the 90s, if you had been working in your shop area at your altitude on cars up until in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s, you knew that when a vehicle would come into your building, what the engine vacuum would be. Now, there's various reasons why you would check engine vacuum. But in the event you determined, okay, I need to check engine vacuum, I believe we have a mechanical concern with this vehicle, you would check it, and up until 1992, you pretty much knew exactly what engine vacuum would be on any engine coming into your bay. Well, in 1992, BMW introduced Vanos. And it's a version of variable valve lift technology where we can adjust the lift of the valves. And the throttle plate could be open quite a bit more, 30, 40, 50%. And the valve lift would control idle significantly more under certain conditions with those Vanos systems. Not all the time. So there are events and many BMWs of today that have less than 90 or 100 millibars of intake manifold vacuum. There's a specification sheet for most Vanos vehicles to where there's each engine has its own dedicated amount. I think the highest number on there is probably like 111 millibars. I'd have to pull the diagram up, but there's a chart for all the engines, and they're on there. So it is a very small amount of engine vacuum. So you didn't know what you didn't know, right? Up until that day, that was the truth. That was solid. That's how engines work. Suck, squeeze, bang, blow. Throttle plate's closed. Create engine vacuum. That's how it worked as long as it was a gasoline engine. So it's a little different. It's one of those situations where you would need to know what, on that particular vehicle, on that particular system, exactly what it was and how it was designed. So that's the most important part about it. So the stuff that I don't know is what scares me the most by far. So to cover what is this course outline? So why is following the process important? First of all, we're going to answer that for the most part. And, realistically, you're here watching this. You're in it. You know why it's important. A process is the most important thing. For all my mobile guys, they know. This is a process is that there's no way that you could successfully diagnose cars efficiently without having some kind of process, even if it's broken. So we're going to cover what are the steps of the process. And there are some solid steps. And, it's not like these are the 7 steps to success, blah, 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 blah. It's more, what overall thought process do we need to have? Not just the steps individually. Okay, I do this, and the next I do this, and the next. That becomes your second nature of how you attack every single problem, and not just cars. This works in life in general. How you attack problems at work, at home, whatever. So how do we change these steps for each issue? And we're going to talk about nuances of sound concerns, vibration concerns, not just diagnostic issues, not just check engine lights or circuit problems. And then why is documentation important? We're going to go through that all throughout class. We're going to talk about why this documentation is important. It makes it easier to sell this. And then how do we make the process effective, efficient, and or profitable? And that's a big part of it. It needs to be profitable. Now, in no way can we really discuss pricing because it comes down to just it's going to cost what's going to cost in your area. Your costs are built off of, your what it costs for you to run your business. So don't worry too much about cost. We'll talk about that as we go, and you guys can talk amongst yourself in chat. I can't control that. I can't kick anyone off there. I mean, I can do whatever I want, but I'm just giving myself some plausible deniability here. So the process is what's important and what steps. So we're going to talk about creating a standard operating procedure. And this is going to reduce the time spent on unnecessary tests. And the biggest part of that is how long or how many times have you been working on a vehicle only to find out that the battery cable was loose the whole time, or it had a bad battery, or the charging system was in-op and it wasn't even part of it, or there was something as simple as it had the wrong size tires and it's an indirect TPMS system, something like that. So that's why the standard operating procedure, this SOP, is going to be so important, because having that process and following it is going to help you a lot. Let's start with a case study. Let's use this process. So we have a 2020 Silverado with a L5P. Yay. The shop, it initially started as a mobile request. They said, hey, we want you to come reprogram the DEF module. Apparently, that didn't fix whatever they wanted it to fix. So now it's brought and dropped off at the shop. So they drop it off because programming didn't fix it. So now we have questions. Before it was, what do you want done? This. Okay, cool. Hit button. This is done. Moving on. Well, did it fix it? I don't know. I don't care. Not my problem. And in the mobile environment, for us, it's you're paying for the procedure, not the outcome. Well, do you know if it's... I don't know. I did the software update. It completed. That's my job. So now they drop it off and go, hey, programming didn't fix it. And go, okay, well, what's wrong? What's been done? And what's the actual concern? Right? What do you think is the concern? What needs to be done? And this is where our process starts, right? This is where a totally different process starts for us, because now we're approaching this as they want us to fix this vehicle. So this is what they want fixed. 22 miles until the 65 mile per hour max speed limiter. The DEF tank assembly's been replaced. The original reductant module was transferred, which was the module that we programmed for them. And then there were 4 manual regens done, and then, of course, it was reprogrammed by us. So asking all the questions, it was, okay, what's been done, this, that, and the other. And the vehicle's 117,000 miles. It's L5P. It's in D-rate because it's had some kind of issue in the past. And they've changed the DEF tank. The reductant module hasn't been changed. Now, the DEF tank holds the level sensor and the pump and a couple other things. So we're not sure what's going on, but they said this is what we're trying to fix. And we've done 4 regens. Okay, what else has been done? We start asking questions, what else has been? They're like, well, that's it. So I don't know about you guys. I work on a fair amount of diesels here in Oklahoma, and I kind of already knew what was wrong with the vehicle because I'm familiar with the system. But let's go ahead and follow our process. We've gathered all the necessary information of what's been done, what they want fixed, what the customer's concern is. And as a matter of fact, we go back, we can easily confirm the customer's concern. We haven't talked about the steps yet. I'm just alluding to that and showing you the process. So we hook up GDS2. I pull a full system scan. There is no DTCs at all. There's nothing in this vehicle at all. And, it's one of those situations where like, okay, well, this is turning into exactly what I thought it was going to be. So no codes. What do we do? How do we start? Where would you start with this? So I want you to think to yourself, where would you start on this particular concern? No DTCs, and you've got this message. Well, the next step in our process is, gotcha. So that's about 8 minutes of our class. Every Monday we do, or I try to do it every Monday. We do about 50 minutes of instruction, 10 minutes of Q&A, and our training covers, in this particular class, Diagnosis Beyond the Silver Bullet, it's our foundational class. It's every problem we deal with, where do we start, right? Seems like a pretty simple concept. This is my favorite class because it's got the most amount of those golden nuggets of information that a technician needs to become a rock star. So head on over to the website, l1training.com, $25 a month. You get access to 100 hours of on-demand training, growing every day, and trying to do an hour every single week live right there for you. So it's all included, $25 a month. We'll see you guys there.